Filipino tennis sensation Alex Eala is off to a winning start at Wimbledon after cruising into the second round with a straight sets.
Picture this for a second. A tennis match nobody expected to matter outside of hardcore fans. Tucked away on outer court at the All England Club. Somehow turning into one of the most talked about sporting moments of the entire summer. And that is exactly what happened when Alex Eala stepped onto court 12 for her opening match at Wimbledon 2026. Because what unfolded over the next hour would end up rewriting record books, filling social media feeds, and giving an entire nation something to scream about from thousands of miles away. So let's rewind and walk through exactly how a first-round match against an unseeded opponent turned into a cultural event, because the numbers being reported are honestly hard to wrap your head around, with early figures suggesting somewhere around 13 million people tuned in from the Philippines alone just to watch the single match. And if that number gets confirmed as more data rolls in, we could be looking at one of the largest audiences ever, recorded for a first-round contest in the history of this tournament. Which sounds almost unbelievable when you remember what kind of match this technically was on paper. Not a final, not a headline clash between two superstars. Just a young Filipino taking on an opponent ranked outside the top 70 in the world on a side court most casual fans would never even notice. And yet millions of people apparently pause their entire day to watch it unfold live, which tells you something bigger is happening here than just one tennis match. Because this is about what Alex Eala currently represents to an entire country. And the energy wasn't just happening on television screens back home either. Because inside the grounds at Wimbledon itself, something felt completely different than a typical outer court atmosphere. Fans had made the trip from all across the United Kingdom, some driving hours, some flying in specifically for this. And by the time the match started, that quiet little outside court had transformed into something that resembled a home crowd more than a neutral venue. Flags draped over every railing you could find, jerseys scattered to the stands, homemade signs held up throughout the entire match. And if you shut your eyes for a second and just listen to noise bouncing around that court, you could have sworn you were sitting courtside at a tournament in Manila rather than tucked away in the quiet suburbs of London. And even Eala herself seemed caught off guard by just how far her support had traveled, admitting afterward that she didn't see this coming, saying almost in disbelief that her community keeps finding new ways to show up for her no matter where she plays. And when you think about how insanely difficult it already is to get your hands on Wimbledon tickets in general, one of the toughest sporting events on the planet to attend, the fact that an entire section of a court filled up with her supporters for a first-round match says everything about the wave she's currently riding this season. She even joked that it felt like a full house of almost entirely Filipino fans, and admitted she never imagined getting anything close to a home atmosphere at a tournament like this. But here's the thing, the story doesn't stop at the crowd or the streaming numbers, because Eala didn't just show up to soak in the moment. She showed up to make a statement on the court itself, and her opponent wasn't just some random name pulled from a draw sheet either. This was personal, because Renata Zarazu of Mexico had actually beaten Eala once before, back in 2024 in an ITF event in North Carolina. A tight 3-set battle that clearly stuck with her the way frustrating losses tend to linger in the back of an athlete's mind. And Wimbledon gave her the perfect stage to finally settle that old score, except she didn't just settle it quietly. She completely dismantled it. Because from the very first point of the match, Eala looked locked in, holding her opening service game comfortably, then breaking through in the fourth game, seized control early. And once she got that lead, she never allowed Zarazu back into the match, ripping off 5 straight games in a row to slam the door in the first set at 6-1. Her second serve looked like an absolute weapon throughout, and she kept stepping inside the baseline aggressively to dictate every single rally, never once letting her opponent settle into any kind of rhythm. And the second set followed almost the exact same pattern. Eala jumping out to an early 2-0 lead, and even though Zarazu managed to claw back briefly and cut into that advantage, Eala answered immediately with another string of dominant games to close out the match 6-2, wrapping up the entire contest in just over an hour. And when you actually look at the stats from that match, they tell an even more lopsided story than the score alone suggests, because Eala finished with 22 winners compared to only 11 from her opponent. Exactly double. She also won 16 points at the net compared to just 3 for Zarazu. And on return of serve, she was dominant too, winning 21st serve return points against only 6 for the other side. And when you add everything up, Eala won 64 total points in that match compared to 41 for Zarazua, a gap of 23 points that really shows just how one-sided this victory truly was. And with that win locked in, Eala made history that will now follow her name forever, becoming the very first Filipina to ever win a main draw singles match at Wimbledon during the entire Open era. And that milestone builds directly on top of history she already created just last year, when she became the first Filipino player of any gender to win a Grand Slam main draw match at the U.S. Open, grinding out a tough 3-set win over Clara Towson. So within the span of just 12 months, she has now delivered 2 separate historic firsts for her country on 2 of the biggest stages of sport tennis has to offer. And at this point, it stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like the product of a genuine season-long rise that has completely shifted how the tennis world views her. And that rise is exactly why these numbers, both inside the stadium and reportedly at home, keep climbing higher every time she steps onto a court. Because Eala didn't just walk into Wimbledon out of nowhere. She arrived fresh off one of the strongest stretches of her entire career, capturing the Birmingham Open title, her second WTA 125 level crown, grinding through a 3-set battle against Nikola Bardonkova to get it done. And she followed that up with a semi-final run at the Berlin Open, knocking off 2 top 10 opponents back-to-back, taking down both Elena Rybakina and Aryna Sabalenka. Wait, let's be careful here and just keep the tone consistent with 2 strong wins over ranked opponents before eventually falling to the eventual champion. And somewhere in between all of that whirlwind stretch, she even teamed up with 5-time Wimbledon champion Venus Williams for a doubles run at the Hamburg Open, reaching the quarterfinals alongside an actual legend of the sport, which is a kind of experience that either intimidates a young player or accelerates their growth. And in Eala's case, it clearly did the second one, because that exact form and momentum is precisely why she walked into Wimbledon as the 29th seed, becoming the very first player from the Philippines ever to earn a seeded position at a Grand Slam tournament. And if you're a fan sitting there wondering whether this is just a nice moment or the start of something much bigger, here's the part that should genuinely get you excited. Because this might only be the beginning of this story. Alex Eala now moves forward into the second round to face Maya Joint of Australia. And the storylines surrounding this next match are just as loaded as the last one, because Joint enters this match fresh off a massive upset win of her own, eliminating Serena Williams the first round during Williams' return to singles competition. So this is very far from being an easy or soft draw for Eala. And to make things even more interesting, the 2 players already share history together, having met last year in the final of the Eastbourne Open, a match that Eala has openly admitted she is looking to avenge and improve on this time around. And when you put all of these pieces together, the reported viewership numbers, the packed stands on an outer court, the emotional statement when over a player who had beaten her before, there's a very real chance that this next match only builds even further on the momentum she has already created. Because if Filipino fans turn out in numbers like these for a first-round match against an unseeded opponent, it becomes pretty easy to imagine those numbers climbing even higher for a second-round showdown that already comes with as much attention attached to it. And honestly, at this point, Alex Eala might not just be chasing a deeper run to the Wimbledon draw. She might genuinely be chasing her own viewership record with every single match she plays from here on out. And if this entire season has taught us anything so far, it's that betting against her right now feels like a genuine mistake. So here's the real question hanging over all of this heading into round 2. Can Alex Eala keep this incredible momentum rolling against Maya Joint? Or does the pressure that comes with numbers this massive finally start to catch up with her? Do you think this reported viewership figure ends up holding steady once official numbers come in? Or does round 2 blow right past it entirely? And maybe the biggest question of them all, are we currently watching the early chapters of Alex Eala becoming the single biggest draw in the history of Filipino sports? Drop your thoughts and predictions down in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear what everyone thinks happens next in this story. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of everything that unfolded, do me a favor and tap that like button before you go. If you haven't already joined the community here, go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single moment of Alex Eala's historic run through this Wimbledon tournament. And I'll see you in the very next one.